Okay, let's move on to our stereo track over here. Not much different to show you because the panner is pretty much the same thing, and you can figure out what's going to happen. Here's our piano. And you can see different to Reaper, these are linked, but also different to Resolve. I really like the way that this behaves. You can grab either the left or right puck here and they will move together. And not only does this do panning, but this also does width. Like obviously if you have it like that, you have your left and right tracks playing through left and center speakers, so you'll have a phantom center between the two there. And it's pretty simple to move these two around and pan them somewhere in this 5.1 space. I've put the piano behind us there, but say you wanted the piano behind you, but now it's kind of the wrong way around, so you want to flip these channels around. This is where something like rotate comes in. So you can see if I reset that to normal front, yellow is left, red is right, I can't really drag the pucks to turn them around. So the best way to do that would be to use the rotate feature. And you can see it rotates all around the sound field. You can have stuff swirl around you. I don't know what this will sound like on a stereo fold down. Let's see. A little bit like one of those rotating Leslie speakers. It's way more intense when you actually have surround speakers around you. But other than doing rotating or orbiting effects like that, you could just use this to swap. Now it's behind you. And look, you can put this in front of you. There's other ways to do that, but you can rotate the signal around, which is quite useful. The rest of the stuff kind of stayed the same. Play around with divergence and distribution to see how it works in terms of the sound of that. And again, all your other panning controls work pretty much the same way. On that note, looking at our 5.1 track over here, you can see you have your dedicated pucks for each speaker it's going to play. Now, in general, we don't do much with surround tracks. If it's a good surround track that's recorded in a certain way, we play them back as they are. But you might want to rotate it. You might actually want it to be more of a back bias and not so much in your front speakers, or you might want to mute your front center channel, or if you do that distribution, let me actually show you the distribution. This is our surround ambience. Look, it's coming out of 5 speakers here. But if I add the distribution, it is essentially cut out my center speaker there, which I might want to leave open for dialogue, or mostly leave open for dialogue. So you might want to use this control. I have used this swirly rotatey feature for a surround ambience that I wanted to swirl around somebody in a confusing wave crash, somebody going underwater. So there might be cases where you use stuff like that. But generally, you won't be doing all that much panning with surround tracks. But the same panner comes into play when you've got FX channels and things like that. So then you might want to use that. But those are your basics in terms of a panner. Very easy to use. And remember to have the right type of clip on the right type of track so that you get the right panner in terms of mono, stereo, and above that. Do note that we do sometimes get multi-channel files that aren't exactly 5.1. And the most common two that we will come across would be a 5.0 file and a quad file, or a 4.0 file. What those are, 5.0 is actually what I have here. This should be a 5.0 file, but because 5.1 is more common, I just left that 0.1 LFE track blank. But you'll have a 5.0 file where you only have the 5 tracks for the 5 signals, and they're all normal speakers, not the LFE. Now the problem is if you mismatch that, you'll get your tracks or your channels in the wrong order. So you can see, you can specifically add a 5.0 track which will also happen if you just drag and drop your 5.0 ambience into your project. And similarly, they call it quadro. So your quadro would be your quadraphonic 4-channel surround, which is one level down from this. Now it's left out the center as well. So it's your front left and right, rear left and right. And you do get a lot of stuff that's quadraphonic sound. Not just some old school music, but you do get some quadraphonic ambiences and other recordings that you might want to use in a project. So then use the appropriate track for those.